This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of inStudio, a new addition to the Thursday night programming on WSRE. I'm Drexel Gilbert, and I will be your host for the evening as we present a holiday-inspired program that we are calling The Spirit of Giving. During the course of the next hour, we will explore the goodwill and good deeds that are impacting Escambia and Santa Rosa County communities, and not just during the holidays, but every day of every month of every year. Lives are improved, families are strengthened, and the community grows stronger because of this spirit of giving. inStudio is coming up. Welcome back. Tonight marks the third installment of inStudio, a program exploring current events and topics that are important to you and to our community. inStudio airs the second and fourth Thursday of each month, barring any preemptions, and we're going to have a rotating schedule of hosts who will be guiding you through the program. Along with me, you can expect to see the familiar faces of Jeff Weeks and Sherry Hemminghouse Weeks, as well as Ramika Vincent Leary. Ramika is new to our community. She comes to us with a journalism background from Charleston, South Carolina, and you will meet her next month. Tonight, though, we are exploring the importance of giving in our community and how organizations and groups that are committed to that spirit of giving are making a difference in lives, not just during the holidays, but every day of the year. Our guests this evening include leaders in the United Way of Escambia County and Santa Rosa County, and we will also learn how the organization Impact 100 is having, well, a significant impact in our area. And also joining us this evening, the Executive Director of Manna Food Bank, a local grassroots effort to fight hunger in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties. First up tonight, United Way. Joining us for the discussion are Andrea Krieger, who is the President and CEO of United Way of Escambia County, and Deborah Baez, who is Operations and Campaign Director for United Way of Santa Rosa County. And thank you to both of you for being with us this evening.
Thank you for inviting us.
I think, as we referenced at the beginning of the program, this is a time of year when the spirit of giving is perhaps more prominent in the minds of many of us, but organizations like the United Way and other organizations in our community are concerned every day of every year. And so I wanted to talk first a little bit about United Way, what United Way is, and what does United Way do for our community needs. And Andrea, let's start with you.
Sure. That's really interesting. You're starting there because many people say, I'm not real sure what they do, but I know they do good all the time. And that's very true. And I guess if you sum it up, we are in community problem solving. So if our community has a need, then our role at United Way is to find the wonderful partners who are going to help solve that problem, do more than put a Band-Aid on something, but actually make life better for the people who live in our communities. And it's complex work, very complex work. It doesn't just center on education or one part of education or health or even financial stability. It's what makes our community work and where do we need to plug the hole in the safety net.
Okay, I'm going to talk to Deborah in just a moment, but I want to get a little more specific with you. Sure. How great are the needs in our community for what United Way provides?
Yeah, so our community has challenges like any, but we are in Escambia County dealing with some of the highest poverty across the state. But when you add it up, it's not just about the families who are living in poverty. It's about working families. We call them asset limited, income secure, employed. So those folks who are working day to day who just can't seem to make the ends meet. And we have about 41% of our community that lives in that situation. So, in Escambia County, you're talking 140,000 of our friends and neighbors. There's a lot of us who are dealing with a struggle. Mm-hmm. So we have to be there to figure out what need do you have and which partner, which volunteer, or which donor wants to solve that and fix it so that it isn't a problem for your kids and your children. So it's a complex issue. We have in education, we've got issues with our school readiness. We have kids who are struggling because their families are struggling. The parents don't have the time to spend at home with them, so when they show up for school the first day, 33% of them aren't ready to learn.
And what happens, excuse me, that 33%, what happens down the road? How does that impact the future and the community as a whole?
Yeah, that's why we have so many who are struggling, because if you show up unprepared, you likely aren't going to be on grade level. You're not going to graduate with your peers. So if you look at our graduation rate, we have 66% who graduate. Well, that means you've got 34 that don't. Mm-hmm. That means their opportunities for employment are a lot more challenging than their peers. And it also means that our workforce suffers. So we have businesses who want to hire you, but you don't have the right skills. You haven't had the education you need or the skilled trade that you need. And we have to figure out, how do we change that? How do we fix that dynamic? And if we start early, we can fix a lot of it.
Okay, Deborah, let's talk about Santa Rosa County, and I'm sure that the needs and the concerns in Santa Rosa County have to be very similar to in Escambia County. What's being done in Santa Rosa County to address these critical needs?
Well, we have 165 or so thousand people living there, and we're kind of scattered one end to the other. Then we have services that are scattered. So what we do is try to bring the services to the people. For example, we have an agency here in Gulf Breeze.
We talk about numbers, and sometimes numbers can confuse all of us. Mm-hmm. But I think the important thing that we're trying to talk about here is that these aren't just numbers, these are people, these are faces, these are, as you said, Andrea, our neighbors, mm-hmm. sometimes maybe our next door neighbors, and we don't even know. One of the things that we talked about as you and I were getting to know each other, Deborah, is that you really can relate to the people that come through the office where you are, because, well, I'm just going to let you tell the story why you can relate.
Well, growing up, I heard about United Way on television with the football commercials, and I thought that's what they did. Who knew what United Way was? And as the years passed, I did know that they do good works in the community, but I never paid much attention to United Way. And at some point, there was a time where I was having United Way president as a peer of mine in a group where a governor had put me on a workforce board, and I got to know him, and I realized that it was an incredible agency. I saw that it was a strong agency, but never, while I sat on that board, while I knew him as a peer, never did I ever believe that at some point I would need the services. And it didn't dawn on me that I could need the services until the phone rang and someone said, Deborah, we have a check for you from United Way. There was a tragedy in my life, and I did basically lose everything and have to start all over again. And the United Way was there to step up. And one of the things we do in our work at United Way is we try to improve every life that we touch. Every life. If someone calls and says, I'm hungry, we say, how many kids are in the house? What else can we do for you? Because there are questions when you're in the middle of that place that you just don't even think to ask for yourself. So I see it as a very responsible, I like to say at our United Way, we sit down as a family and we say, just as Andrea said, we have a problem. What are we going to do here? What resources do we have? And we sit down and we solve it, kind of the old-fashioned way. And that's really neat, because there's not a simple answer for any solution. Every person we meet has a different story. This week we had a family come in, and they've never been late with their bills, and suddenly the husband was in an accident, couldn't work. Then the wife was in a car accident. Then the father had a heart attack. They're out of money. They've never not paid their light bill. We can help them keep the light bill on this time, but what about holiday gifts? What about food? What about all of those? So now we're helping that family. We have homeless people coming in record numbers. They're coming in and they're asking for blankets. They're asking where can they go, because the waiting lists are too long for housing.
And so what we have here then, and getting back to what you were talking about earlier too, Andrea, this has to be a cooperative effort. These problems cannot be solved necessarily by any one agency. And I know with United Way, it is truly a community effort. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's really people helping people. I look at what we do each day and all of the different partners to the table, and they're so diverse. If we look at who we're serving, that's who's helping as well. So 1 in 3 in Escambia County are helped by United Way, but 1 in 3 are also involved in doing the work and helping. And so when it comes to an issue with school readiness, you think, okay, well, that's schools, that's educators, that's their problem. Well, what if the child's having a problem with school readiness because they can't hear well? Well, you need a hearing aid. You need some help to get that hearing aid. You need diagnosis that maybe ARC is providing, or maybe the child's hungry. Well, to fix them being ready for school, you've got to get nutritious food to that child. So you need Manna at the table helping provide that food. There are so many issues that contribute to one problem that the issue has to be resolved with all of us sitting around the same table. And it can't be slated as this is an education problem, or this is something the hospitals or the healthcare providers should take care of. It's a community issue. We all have to figure out what's our part that we have to play in solving the problem. And the only way to fix it and not throw a Band-Aid on it or throw money at it is if we all come to the table together and figure out, how do we make sure this doesn't happen again? How do we make sure that we're resolving the issue going forward? It takes an awful lot of volunteers. It takes dedication and passion. It takes that spirit of giving you're talking about. It takes people caring about their neighbors and their friends.
So how important is the volunteer aspect then of United Way? You said 1 in 3 receiving, 1 in 3 helping.
Right. Well, I look at, so if we look at last year, we raised $3.1 million. We had an $11.6 million impact. That's because much of what we did was all volunteer. We had, the service was provided for free, or the volunteer came and they gave their heart and their time. They showed up for Day of Caring, 1,400 of us out there, working at schools and planting beds or doing walkways at the Snoozeland Center, whatever needed to be done. We all figured out, what can we bring to the table? And how do we do our part to make sure that our community is what we want it to be? It's not just about we're helping somebody else. It's about we're making our community a better place for all of us. And it wouldn't happen without volunteers. What's important about volunteers? We can't do this without them. We have to have their passion and their willingness to show up. I know we talked about Reading Pals a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about the Reading Pals program, and that goes back to the early readiness for school as well.
Right, that's it's 4-year-olds. We had an opportunity as a United Way. We already had a Reading Pals program in the community, and we had Every Child a Reader who was doing some real good work with kids, 4-year-olds, getting them ready so that when they step through that door in kindergarten, they don't feel like they're already left behind. And so we had an opportunity to get a grant from Carol and Barney Barnett that was $85,000. Well, yeah, we could have taken that money as United Way and built a new program. Instead, let's make what we have here stronger. Let's figure out what pieces needed to be added to that, and let's use the wonderful volunteers we already have at United Way and tell them how important this is for that 4-year-old and how wonderful it is to show up, if you love to read, and read 1 hour a week for kids. The kids are smiles from ear to ear when their volunteer shows up for them. And you know, we've had a few volunteers who said, I was really afraid when I got there they wouldn't want to stop playing on the playground and come, and they're running across the playground and they're wanting to grab my hand and take me to do their reading and their literacy kit. And if we can do that and do it in a way that a kid not only learns and gets the literacy skill they need, but also has a little hope provided with that because somebody cares about them. Our Women's Leadership Council, we had a meeting last night, and the volunteers we had, we were all so excited because we were planning, okay, we're going to have our Women's Leadership Council social for the holidays, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to do all this for the kids.
Right.
And we were talking about what fun it would be as a volunteer to show up and let a child know that somebody is there who cares about them, an adult cares about them.
And I would imagine, too, we've talked about the way that the volunteers respond and react whenever they see the good that they're doing. You're in the office, but you still get to have that same feeling as well, don't you, Deborah? Because you see the good that's being done as well.
Absolutely. You go home every day and you know you've impacted lives. We have interns come in, and the interns are there from the colleges, and we're not only saying, okay, go and do a case study and work and learn your job, we're also being mentors to them. We're helping them learn how you work in an office. We help them learn how you dress in an office. All of these life skills that are going to help them later. You know, they come to us with a degree or they're working on a degree, but that they don't have the office experience. And the interacting with us has become a part. It's almost like we become a family working together.
Now, let me ask you this, and I think I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. Is there any one category of need, either in Escambia County or Santa Rosa County, or just in general, that supersedes the others? Or is it truly just across the board? And can you elaborate a little bit about whatever your answer is going to be on that?
Yeah, you know, they all play into each other. They, unfortunately, if you start, let's just start with education. Is there an education need? We've talked about school readiness. Well, the school readiness may actually be a health need. You may have a kid who's not getting enough nutrition, is hungry. We have about 28% of our families and our children in Escambia County that are obese. Well, people think they're doing that because they're just sitting down and eating all day. Well, no, it's because they don't have the money to pay for fruits and vegetables. So that's a financial stability issue. You've got households that aren't making enough to make ends meet. That 41% adds up. Well, when you have a choice to make, are you going to feed your child anything? Or are you going to feed them what's nutritious and healthy that may cost your family more that you can't afford? You don't have the transportation, the car, to get to the grocery store to get that fresh vegetable or that fresh fruit. So they're complex issues, and there's not really, you know, 33% aren't ready to learn, 34% aren't graduating, 18.1% are in poverty, but 41% can't make ends meet. The numbers stretch across the continuum, and that's what's really cool about United Way, and that's what's been, it's just an honor to serve there and see people who are willing to help each other out, because they're stepping up wherever they have the expertise or wherever they have the passion or wherever they have an ability to provide part of the solution. And the biggest thing that I would say is we can't do it if we're not doing it together. We all have to have the same goals, working toward the same solutions for our community.
And it seems like in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties, there is that really great concerted focus, you know, where there is a common movement toward finding the solutions.
Yeah, and you look across both the counties. So we do Cram the Van. That's part of the education solution. Well, it's the same thing at United Way of Santa Rosa. They're doing Cram the Van, getting those supplies to the schools. We're launching a veterans dental care project called Honor Smile for the Emerald Coast to provide veterans who are in poverty, who have given everything to their country. Let's help them get their teeth fixed. Well, that's taken 29 dentists who are volunteering their time in Escambia County.
And that brings up another area I was going to touch on. It's not just, the individual volunteer effort is huge, but you have businesses that are stepping up and using what their resources in terms of their talents to be able to help. And that's huge.
It's huge. Our VITA program, we're at WSRE Studios, so let's talk about PSC, because that program is a $5.2 million win for our community. It's getting money back for low-income families. Pensacola State College hosts us at all of their campus sites. They're providing the computers, the phone lines. Talk about emergency assistance. Publix, their employees donate every year. Well, because of that, the corporation gives a part back, so that when somebody else in our community has a need, they can call 211, and there is a fund there that if they're working towards stability and they have a plan to get their family out of that situation, then Publix is going to help them do it. I mean, it takes all of us that own that part of it and understand the issue, jumping in and helping solve it.
And just, we're running close on time here, but you mentioned 211, which very briefly is a quick way for someone who needs help from United Way or needs to talk to someone at United Way about their situation to get that information. In Santa Rosa County, it's a little different, is that right?
First call for help, yes.
Okay.
It's first call for help, and it's manned by volunteers who are actually in our office. So if we overhear them on the phone saying, we don't have anything in our database for that, we can stand right up and come and say, put them on the line with us, and we figure what they need. So it's kind of hands-on, it's fun, because you know that you can take the call right away and make a solution.
Okay, so for those who are watching this program and are being inspired to help with United Way and volunteer, the call is out there, right?
It's
You're ready.
out there.
Just the last question I have is that, you know, this is the time of year whenever we do focus on giving and the needs of those who may be less fortunate or in trouble at this time of year are at the forefront of our mind. January's coming.
Yeah, January's coming fast.
First of the year. What happens after the big push at the end of the year? Is it tough sometimes?
It is. It's kind of like when
People
you
are
lose
tired. They don't
somebody.
want to volunteer.
You think about families who lose a family member and the funeral comes and there's all this activity and then everybody leaves after the funeral, and that's when it really gets hard. The holidays are somewhat like that with giving. January's going to come and it's going to get slow again. And do you think about that tax-free tax programs? We'll have 40 volunteers who are helping families get their earned income tax credit back. Be ready in January to step forward and help, because come March, those refunds are gone and that family doesn't have a way to pay their bill again.
And I would imagine in Santa Rosa County the same thing. So the holiday seasons come and go, but when January's there, you're still there, and you still need the folks to step up and volunteer to read to the children and help with the tax programs and all of these programs you have. It just being there is going to make a huge difference in the new year.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, my thanks to Andrea Krieger and also to Deborah Baez for being with us on this Christmas Eve program. As we head into our first break, check out your television screen for more information on how you can get in touch with the United Way of Escambia County and the United Way of Santa Rosa County. And when we come back, what began as an effort by 4 women to make a difference in our community has grown by leaps and bounds with an impact that has touched thousands of lives in the organization's history. The Spirit of Giving and Impact 100 when we return.
PBS Learning Media for us in Okaloosa County is another tool in our tool chest.
The PBS Learning Media has become one of those go-to places for everything.
And if I'm a 3rd grade math teacher, I can go get a 3rd grade lesson. I can see how many children use it. I can take the reports from that and diagnose, well, they didn't understand how to multiply by fractions. They didn't understand this or whatever.
I get it.
Technology is really important in our education because it not only opens up like so many different windows which we can learn through, but it opens up all kinds of different possibilities of what we can do.
So I could basically learn wherever I am, and I'm not limited to just a classroom or just whenever I have my textbook.
PBS Learning Media is one of those tools that will change the way we teach.
It's available anytime, anywhere. It's for all learning styles, and it's the perfect resource to enhance the classroom curriculum.
Welcome back to inStudio. For those of you who may just be joining us, we are exploring the efforts of several agencies and organizations that spend not just the holidays, but the entire year giving to our community in order to make the place we live and play stronger, healthier, and united. Now, we just concluded a conversation with representatives from the United Ways of Escambia and Santa Rosa County. We continue looking at the spirit of giving in our community now with Cindy Warren. Cindy is the president of Impact 100, and I would like to welcome you, Cindy, to in studio.
Thank you, Drexel.
Glad that you're here with us.
Thank you.
Now, for those who may not be familiar with Impact 100, you've been around for a while, but for those who might not know exactly what the organization is and what it does, I want you to tell us how it got started and why, and how Impact 100 is making our community a better place.
Okay. Impact 100 was actually founded in Cincinnati by a lady named Wendy Steele, who said that she had friends who had the means to give and had all these talents that had not been harnessed to help anyone in an effective way. And so Wendy founded this concept of Impact 100, where it's a women's only philanthropy group. A woman gives $1,000 per year, there's no paid staff, and all $1,000 of that money goes back out into the local communities to nonprofits who do good work in our community. And so Impact 100 Pensacola Bay Area was actually founded in 2004 by Debbie Ritchie and some other ladies who knew about this concept and wanted to implement it locally. And so Impact 100 Pensacola Bay Area just finished our 12th year of giving, and we funded more than $7 million into the local communities.
And this began with Debbie, and as I recall, if I read this correctly, it was a group basically of 4 women. Mm-hmm. The goal was to get 100 women, but before it was over with, there were over 200. So there was really obviously a desire in this community, among the women in this community, to, as you said, harness their talents and their resources into a common goal of helping make the community better. And it's grown by leaps and bounds since. And what's your membership up to now?
2015, our membership was 1,060 members. So we had $1,060,000 to give away in grants this past October. Before we get into those grants and what and the areas of our community that benefit from that, can you just kind of recap for us Impact 100's mission in terms of, I know you have 5 areas that you really devote your resources to. Right. Well, our mission is to know and serve the community, to fund significant charitable grants to charitable organizations, and to set an example of effective philanthropy. And we do have 5 focus areas that the nonprofits apply in. Those are arts and culture, education, environment, recreation and preservation, family, and health and wellness.
Okay.
And so when an organization submits a grant application to us, they choose which of those 5 focus areas they would like to apply in based on how their need most fits into those categories.
Now, video is on the screen right now, and this is meetings, or is this where you're looking at the grant applications?
This is our nonprofit workshop that we do each spring. We invite the nonprofits in our community, whether they're going to apply for an Impact 100 grant or not, to join us. And we oftentimes have outside speakers who help them learn how to write a more powerful grant or a more convincing grant, a more effective grant. We also talk about the Impact 100 process and help them with that process, the forms that they have to complete, and help them to be more comfortable with our process.
Okay, we can come back to the studio now because I want to ask you, what makes Impact 100 different than the other organizations that are out there meeting needs in our community?
I think what makes us most different is that we are empowering those agencies to really reach their clients more effectively and help the populations who they serve. So Impact 100 doesn't fund individuals. We do not fund for-profit entities. We only fund nonprofit organizations who are reaching out then to those particular populations and serving those. And I think because we only fund grants in increments of $100,000 or more, the idea is that we fund a life-changing grant to that organization that would allow them to more effectively reach their population, to increase their service, or to expand a program or implement a new program to be able to serve those people.
It sounds like the grant then not only is life-changing for the organization, but is life-changing as in a ripple effect to the lives that these organizations touch.
Right. That's what we often refer to as the impact of impact. That a lot of times organizations feel that impact even if they don't win a grant, because they have been able to participate in a process. They've had a group of passionate women learn about them, women who are passionate about their organization or their cause. Those women from Impact often join their boards. They often volunteer with organizations that they learn about through the process of Impact 100, and that's part of the impact of Impact in addition to winning a grant.
There was some video of some of the organizations that have received help. What are some of the grants that come to mind right away for you, or maybe a representative or indicative of the needs of our community?
Sure. We have funded St. Joseph Medical Clinic, and that may be who this is. We helped them to expand their space to basically double the population that they were able to serve. We also funded Health and Hope Clinic, which is a medical clinic, and Good Samaritan Clinic. We have funded Big Brothers Big Sisters, and a campaign where they wanted to reach 100 mentors for young boys in 100 days. So their program was 100 men in 100 days. It was very successful. They met that goal. And so now more than 100 young boys have a mentor that they would not have otherwise had.
And for those who are watching this program and are thinking, you know, well, like what we saw a video a moment ago of Manna Food Bank, and then we've seen some other groups that were up there in the medical clinics that you were talking about. So there's a nonprofit that's saying, gee, you know, I'd like to participate this and be. Talk to me about the grant application process and how rigorous is the screening process and why?
Well, an organization gives a letter of intent to apply in April, and our time frame is the same every year. And then they submit their application in June of each year. And then each of those 5 focus areas has a group of women who volunteer from the membership of Impact 100, and they review each grant application that goes into the process. They also go on a site visit to every organization who applies for an Impact 100 grant, and they vet that application to see what type of impact it's going to have in our community, how diverse is their organization and who they serve, how financially stable are they. And so it's a very rigorous evaluation process. And then that committee decides who the finalists out of each committee are, and those finalists present to the membership of Impact 100 at our annual meeting each October. And then we award those grants in each October.
Now, I have not had the pleasure of attending one of those October events, but I hear it's very high energy and so exciting. And talk to me about what it does inside for the women of Impact 100 when they see the joy of the awarding of the grants.
I think that no one really can understand the power of the collective giving and how that does empower a woman to know that she can write a $1,000 check and have $1 million impact in our community. And so to be able to participate in that and to really see the projects in our community that have benefited from their $1,000 check each year is very empowering. And I think that the collective process is really what makes a woman so excited about Impact 100 and the way that process works.
Okay, so now we're leading into another question I've been veering toward, and that is on your frequently asked questions page of your website for Impact 100 Pensacola Bay Area. There's a question: can men join? And the answer is no. So can you talk to us a little bit about that? And I think it goes back to what you said, the collective empowerment and giving.
Right. Men cannot join, but men do participate very much in our organization, and they enjoy that because they believe in what we do. They believe in the mission of Impact 100. Men are often sponsors of other women. You know, maybe it's their wives, maybe it's they just want to sponsor a woman who couldn't quite afford to join on her own. Men also own businesses who support Impact 100. We have an incredible amount of community support that enables us to continue to give all $1,000 of a membership out in grants to the community. So we do have a lot of men who support us, even though they can't become voting members.
Okay, so that answers that question. That's taken care of. How great is the need in our community for this type of grant service that Impact 100 provides?
I think it's very great, Drexel, because there are a lot of organizations who will fund daily operating needs. You know, some people provide food for the hungry. Some people will pay power bills for those who can't quite make it through the month, and other basic needs. But the Impact 100 grant is a place where an organization, like we said earlier, can go to really have a life-changing event that they might not otherwise be able to get. It's not easy to find $100,000 grants in our community to make those types of changes. And so it enables them to really take their organization to the next level in almost every single case where we have funded a grant.
As I asked the directors for the United Ways of Escambia and Santa Rosa County, I'll pose the same question to you. At this time of year, people are focused on giving back to the community, whatever their resources might be, you know, volunteering. I know that Impact 100, before we get to that, Impact 100 is an all-volunteer group. So talk about how that impacts what you are able to do, because there's no paid staff.
There is no paid staff. And so it is an all-volunteer organization. We have a board who works very, very hard, who have the skills that we need to operate. We also have volunteers within our membership who help us with very many of our tasks that have to be performed. And again, we have businesses who donate during the year to help us with our overhead type expenses. And so that is how we are able to continue to give all $1,000 of a woman's membership back out into the community in grants. And really that is part of what we see as that part of our mission statement, to set an example of effective philanthropy. I think that's a very good example of how that works, because we have no paid staff.
And so now the question is, as we close out 2015 and we come out of the season of when we're kind of hardwired, I guess you might say, towards thinking about giving and giving back to the community, and I'm not talking financial necessarily, I'm talking about just being a part of making where we live and play better. How do you approach the beginning of the year now in January? Are you excited about what 2016 holds?
Oh, we are very excited, because we just come off of that annual meeting process where we were able to award those grants to 10 organizations in our community. There's a lot of energy and a lot of passion to want to continue to do that and to want to take that even to a higher level. And so the Women of Impact are excited, and every year we find that people want to join, to be able to make a difference in the community and to make a bigger impact each year.
Okay. And then one last question. For those organizations, nonprofits that might be out there and think, you know, I would really like to apply for one of these grants, but, you know, I'm just this little bitty, you know, David and not a Goliath, and I don't know, should I do it? Have you had stories where you've had someone that maybe really didn't think they were going to be awarded this grant, and how exciting that was for them? And should anybody think that, or should you just go for it and try?
No, you should just go for it, because the way that the Impact 100 grant process works, each year an organization applies, they learn something more. They become stronger, and that might be that they increase their financial reporting capabilities, or it may be that they increase their board strength, but they become a better organization just by applying. And we have funded so many smaller organizations. We don't just fund the large organizations. And what those small organizations will tell you is that oftentimes they have applied for several years before they actually won a grant, and they will tell you that each year they felt like the process helped them to become a better organization.
Great. Well, we were a better program for having you with us this evening. Thank you so much. Cindy Warren, who is president of Impact 100 Pensacola Bay Area. And if you would like to know more about Impact 100, check out your television screen for contact information. When we return, it is the time of year when a lot of us are focused on food. Our next in-studio guest also focused on food, on feeding the hungry, not just at the holidays, but every day. We'll be right back.
the true measure of all our actions is how long the good in them lasts.
We should know our history.
It informs, but it doesn't constrict you.
It's a framework to carry out human activity.
The sky is the limit.
This started a long time ago.
Welcome back to inStudio, where tonight's topic is the spirit of giving, specifically the giving to community that comes through the guidance of groups and organizations such as United Way and Impact 100, who are our earlier guest. And now we welcome to the program the Executive Director of Manna Food Bank, Dee Dee Flaunlacker. And Dee Dee, it's so nice to have you with us this evening.
Thanks, Drexel. Thanks for asking us back.
Absolutely. Now, of course, Manna Food Bank has been a part of the Escambia and Santa Rosa County community since, gosh, I don't even know how long, but I bet you do.
I do. 32 years, believe it or not.
Well, for those who still may not really have a good handle on just what Manna does, talk to us about the mission.
Sure. Our mission is to help the hungry in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties by providing groceries to those in need. And we do that through 4 pantries that are located in the 2-county area. Plus, we also operate in collaboration with the Santa Rosa County School District, a Backpack for Teens program for homeless students, as well as our Westminster Village Senior Hunger Program that we do, providing 160 seniors with food every month.
How significant is the hunger problem in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties? I mean, is it significant?
It is significant. A lot of people can't believe this, but 1 in 4 children in Escambia and Santa Rosa County don't have enough food to eat. And that's hard to believe when you and I can go home and we have plenty of food in our refrigerator and our pantry. But 1 in 4 children struggle. Last year we had 20,303 people that we helped. 34% of them were children under the age of 18, and 28% were senior citizens, mostly 65 plus years old.
And referencing something that Andrea Krieger with United Way of Escambia County said earlier, in situations where there's the hunger issue, there's also the problem of perhaps a family makes the option to feed the child something that's less healthy because it is less expensive, where Manna seeks to provide the child not just with food, but with nutrition. Right?
Absolutely. You know, we're the only pantry in the area that actually packs our grocery bags based on USDA standards for healthy diet. So we take those 5 major food groups, of which chocolate is not one, despite the fact that I'd like for it to be.
Yeah.
But we take those 5 major food groups and we literally pack our grocery bags every day based on those 5 major food groups. And we're trying to put in the appropriate amount of food, but we're really focused on the quality of the food. We think that is the most important piece. It's more important for us over even the quantity that we give out.
Back to the need and the hunger problem in our community. Historically speaking, is it better or worse than it was 10 years ago? About the same?
You know, that's a little misleading because it probably is better in some ways. However, what's happening now is we have so many families, and I think Andrea mentioned this, who struggle in our community that are living paycheck to paycheck. And as a matter of fact, the number one reason people cite for needing our help is an unexpected expense. So you'll have someone who they're doing okay, and then suddenly their car breaks down, or suddenly they have a medical expense, and it throws everything completely out of whack. So we also had the flood. You know, while we lost our building and lost all our food last April, there were a lot of families in our community that were impacted, many of whom didn't have flood insurance, and so they were wiped out completely. So you're also seeing an additional population of people that need help as well.
So you consider, of course, you know, I've lived here since 1973 and have gone through every hurricane since Frederick, I guess. But and so you would anticipate that in situations like the hurricane or a flood, that's going to cause a spike in the need for food. But I don't know that we always think about, like you said, an unexpected medical expense, you know, that comes along. And a lot of these families literally are just right on the edge, and that tips them over.
Absolutely. And, you know, I appreciate you saying that and what you said earlier in the segment about, you know, we're here to serve every day. The needs in our community are every day. All of us are focused on food right now because it's the holidays. And so that also tends to be the time when people mostly give to Manna. But the truth is that the need is every day that we're providing food to the hungry. And in January, the need spikes for us. And then, unfortunately, donations drop dramatically in January.
And we're watching the video here, and I'm gathering that many of the people who are packing these bags and handing these bags out are volunteers. What would you do without your volunteers, Dee Dee?
We couldn't, actually. We really could not exist. We only have a staff of 7 full-time employees, but we have volunteers who are giving an average of 400 hours a week, Drexel. 400 hours a week. Can you imagine?
I know. Oh, my goodness. That's a huge number.
Isn't that incredible? And so our volunteers do everything from coming in and packing groceries to helping us sort food to sitting down with the client and also talking with them about why they need the food. And we're doing that not because we're trying to grill the client. We just want to understand what brings you to our doorstep so we can develop some collaborations and partnerships with other agencies and businesses in the community to hopefully prevent hunger in the future.
And how, what's the response you get from the folks who receive these bags of food?
Oh my goodness, you know, they are so grateful. We had a gentleman last week, as a matter of fact. He was in his early 70s. His wife has MS, and it has progressed significantly. They were doing okay until her medical bills began stacking up. And he came in for the first time, needed help from Manna, was in tears.
And it was hard, I'm sure.
Very hard, because, you know, that age, they're not used to asking for help. And so what we were able to do was get he and his wife signed up on our monthly food program for seniors. And that was important because now every month he can come and get food from us, as opposed to our pantry services where actually we can only help you a maximum of 4 times a year. But Mr. John was so grateful and cried. We had an active duty military female who came in straight from the base about 4 months ago. She never needed help in her life. She and her husband, who's also in the military, doing great, 3 children, and then suddenly she had to take her sister's child into her home. And it's that one thing, you know, that one extra mouth to feed. So, and she also cried and thanked us, and she never needed us again. So, you know, it's amazing.
And I think it's important for those of us in the community who are considering whether or not to volunteer our time or whatever our resources might be to understand. You gave the numbers earlier and the percentages of. There are people behind those numbers.
Absolutely.
Faces, children, senior citizens.
You know, we're very fortunate, Drexel, that we get to do direct service to the hungry. And so that means that we get to meet the clients that we help. And to hear their stories can one, make you feel so bad for them. But on the other hand, and I think this is why we have volunteers who keep coming back, because they know, and there's one of our great volunteers right there, they know that they're helping somebody who really needs the help and appreciates it too.
We have video. I don't know if we can get to it right now, but I know we have some video of gardens. I want to talk to you about Manna's gardens and the impact also that it's having in the schools.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we actually received one of the impact grants was to help us start a garden program. We were able to buy some equipment and also launch that program. We have an organic garden still at Manna out back, and we have volunteers that come in and work that. Last year produced about 800 pounds of food. So
really?
Yes. But we also helped seed a number of school gardens.
Here we go. Here's some of the gardens that are coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and that's actually, believe it or not, out back of our property. And those are tomatoes, I think. I'm a farm girl. You'd think I'd know what I was looking at, but I'm pretty sure those are tomatoes. And we're growing everything. Our volunteers are growing eggplant and green beans and watermelon and, you know, whatever is in season at that time. But we helped seed a number, about 50 school gardens and community gardens. And thank goodness our experts in the community are really the county extension office, and through the Master Gardeners program, they have taken that and really working with the schools to help the teachers use it in curriculum, but also to help the students understand food comes from the ground. And so it's been a great program.
Well, and you know, going back again to a conversation that we had at the beginning of the program with Andrea and also Deborah, and then again with Cindy Warren with Impact 100, all of you work together. This is a holistic, you know, it's not one problem. And so thinking along those lines, I'm thinking about the children in the schools with the gardens. Maybe this might be something that is a turning point for them as well, whether it's in their own situation or maybe propelling them towards some type of activism or charitable career down the road.
Absolutely. And you know, we have, so the vulnerable populations that we serve are the children in the community and the seniors, and a lot of people in between as well. But I want to just share with you a collaboration for our Westminster Village Senior Hunger Program. We just brought in Escambia Community Clinics the other day who met with Westminster, and they're going to be going over and trying to help with some medical and dental issues that the clients have over there. These are 65, 70, 75-year-old people who haven't seen a dentist for 6 years or more, who have a number of challenges. Legal Services has gone over and helped them as well. So food is not the problem. Food is a result of a problem, an unexpected expense, unemployment, whatever it may be. So we have to take that holistic approach.
And Manna does do that. And Manna has been around, what'd you say, 32 years? So you're not going anywhere.
No, we're not. We're in it. And you know, one of the things we've been doing this past year, especially, Drexel, is we've been looking for gaps in service. Who are those folks that are falling through the cracks that need the help? And how can we, in a very methodical way, help them with their hunger situation? So we're working with agencies in town to try to identify those gaps. And at the same time, case management hopefully is being done, or in most cases is being done by someone else, not us. We do food great, but you know, our forte is not clothing, it's not utility payments, etc. So we're really looking to grow our collaborations even more in the future.
And that's what brings about the healing and the growing and the strengthening of a community, is that collaboration. No one agency can do it all, they just can't.
No, and you know, I'm happy to say I think nonprofits in our community, or not-for-profits I should say, in our community, are really more inclined to do collaborations and partnerships now than ever before. We all want to help our community problems, and we know that if we can work together and share resources and approach that, again, more holistically, that's going to be much better for the client, it's going to be much better for our community. Honestly, it's much better for us too.
Someone who wants to volunteer with Manna, but maybe they see we saw earlier you volunteer working on a laptop or whatever, thinks, oh, I don't have the talents to do that. Who can you use at Manna?
Oh my goodness, I tell you, we can use folks who can come in and sort food, folks who can pack bags. They can also help us with handing out grocery bags to the hungry when we're doing our appointments at our main pantry. We do need office help, answering the phone. If you can work on the laptop, that's wonderful. But just about anyone who has any kind of skill set can come in and help us out. It's really a matter of a desire to want to help and a physical ability to be able to be there. We've actually had Autism Pensacola bring in their campers during the summer. And so the kids come in with chaperones and they volunteered. We've had in the past Independence for the Blind come in. Capstone Academy comes in and volunteers. They bring in folks as well. So there's just a whole array of people that come down to Manna and volunteer. So whether you're 20 years old or you're 85, and we have those too, you can make a difference.
And again, that's the collaborative effort, everyone doing what they can. In the season of giving, maybe too often, too much emphasis is placed on the financial part of it. That's an important part of any type of organization and not-for-profit, but without the giving of the time and the talents, it just can't all come together.
It really can't. And when you asked me, what would you do if you didn't have the volunteers? And I was sincere, Manna would not exist if we didn't have our volunteers, because you can't provide food to 20,303 people with just 7 folks. So we're so blessed to have this community and our team.
Well, this community is blessed to have Manna Food Bank as well, and we were blessed to have you on our program tonight. So thank you very much, Dee Dee Floundlacker, for joining us as we talked about the spirit of giving.
Thank you.
And when we return, a wrap-up of tonight's program and a look ahead to the next edition of inStudio. Meantime, here's where you can find more information about feeding the hungry through the efforts of Manna Food Bank. We'll be back.
WSRE Public Television and the Escambia Elementary Principals Association congratulate these Shining Star Award recipients. These students were selected upon the basis of good citizenship and adherence to the core values adopted by the Escambia County school system: equality, responsibility, integrity, respect, honesty, and patriotism. Congratulations to all of these outstanding students.
I hope you've enjoyed tonight's program and have gotten some good information about the good that is going on in our community. It is the time of year when we are more prone to think about the efforts of giving that make our community stronger. But as we've seen and heard, it is a consistent daily effort of organizations and groups like those we've explored tonight, and people like you, that keep our community growing stronger and healthier. These groups are made up of hundreds, even thousands of people just like you, and for that, the community says thank you. This has been our third edition of our new program, inStudio, on WSRE TV. We are excited to be bringing you this program. The second and fourth Thursday of the month, you will see 4 hosts moderating the program on a rotating basis. I'm Drexel Gilbert, and I'm proud to be joined by well-known local journalist Sherry Hemminghouse Weeks and Jeff Weeks as co-host. And also, I'm excited that you will be meeting Ramika Vincent Leary. Ramika is new to WSRE, but not to journalism. She comes to our community with a journalism background from Charleston, South Carolina. Ramika will be hosting the next edition of inStudio, and her topic is going to be palcohol. Have you heard of that? Well, palcohol is powdered alcohol, and it's a hot topic across the country and also in Florida. The sale of palcohol is set to be addressed by the Florida legislature in January. Now, that edition of inStudio with Ramika will air January 14th at 7 p.m. right here on WSRE TV. For now, I'm Drexel Gilbert, and on behalf of all of us at WSRE TV and our inStudio crew, thank you for joining us on this special night. We hope the remainder of your evening is filled with warmth and laughter and peace.